Hello there. Well, welcome to the first video for the Energy Dynamic Model newsletters. I'm going to do these 3 times a month, so do let me know what topic you'd like me to talk about. Today I've decided to look at the idea of courage and faith. Courage and faith. And while I'm talking about this, I hope you enjoy the pictures of the flowers. I'm just probably going to keep the camera on the flowers so you can see what happens as we're chatting. So it's 2020, the UK is in lockdown, people are in their houses, everything is turned upside down, no one knows what's going to happen, the media is full of fear, and everything is it's just an extraordinary time, absolutely extraordinary time. Now, what's happened to most people is they have actually gone through a period of extreme sort of fear and panic. This is actually about 3.5 weeks into a lockdown, so things will have become sort of routine-y by now. But it is extremely difficult, and who knows what's going to happen in the future. So what I really wanted to focus on was the idea of courage and the idea of faith. Now, when we're in positions like this, what's really important to understand is that your mind will be very focused on what's going on, because suddenly everything it was used to has gone upside down. So your mind will be very focused on things, and you will obviously be struggling probably emotionally and have a meltdown every now and then, or feel really bad every now and then. And this is really a result of the situation, but also because this is suddenly a really new and difficult situation. So kind of go with it, you know, it's just your body's way of adapting. But one thing you do have as well, if you can create, is a bit of space to sort of actually get to grips with yourself, because unless you're a key worker, you're probably not working, and you're probably wondering what's going on, as in, you know, where's my life gone? So this is an opportunity to get to grips with yourself. Now, I don't mean that lightly, because I personally do not like the situation at all. I'm personally feeling very that there is no benefit to this situation, quite frankly. So, and I actually mean that this situation should not have been created. That we've created this situation over the last 20 years. So I don't think it's positive. I don't think there's any positives in it. I think that we need to actually learn a few lessons, and as soon as this lockdown is over, we need to really start to get to grips with what's happened, because it's because of the people have done nothing for 20 years except blindly follow the politicians that we're now in this mess. So really, people need to think, well, this is where it's got us. Following the government has actually got us into this situation. That's what has got us here, you know. That is what has got us here. So maybe we can use this opportunity to actually start to make our own decisions, start to stand up for what we believe in, and start to actually be less controlled by governments, and stop being so manipulated by media. And that's what we need to do. Otherwise, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning if we're not careful. And it's not just the beginning, it's just the shift from actually I thought it was okay to actually I think it's really bad. It's just a shift, but it's actually the same thing. It was like this 2 months ago, it's just we didn't notice. It was like this a year ago, we just didn't notice. But now we're noticing, because suddenly everything's gone upside down. But it was there before. This situation was there before. We were dependent on supermarkets before. We were dependent on doctors to make us healthy before. We were reliant on schools to educate our children before. We were relying on employers to pay us money before, okay? Now all that's been withdrawn, we're suddenly thinking, oh my goodness, why has this suddenly happened? Well, it hasn't suddenly happened. It was like it before, you just didn't notice. So this is why, sorry, there's a bit of a rant there, but this is why this could be an opportunity for you to actually think, right, when this lockdown's over, how can I play it differently? Because actually, I don't like this. I don't like being this vulnerable in this system, and I don't like it. I don't like how this has manifested. I don't like how my life is manifesting at the moment. And one reason it's manifesting like this at the moment is because before you weren't really actually grabbing with two hands who you are. And what I'd like to talk about today is who you are, because if you can grab who you are, start to work on it, start to get stronger, start to get resilient, then after lockdown you can start to create a life for yourself where you're not so reliant on outside events. That's really what I'm trying to say. Now, to do this, you need courage. You need courage because you'll be going against the flow. Now, notice that the flow, as I said, is what's brought us here by following the flow. Okay? So you're going to have to go against the flow. Now, the good news is the flow has been broken because it's been gone upside down. So you're in a state of turmoil. But this is actually quite a good place to start from because everything's gone. It's very hard to do this when you've got something. So if you're one of these people who's pretty much lost a lot of stuff, I mean, we've all lost our freedom, so that should be enough, really, quite frankly. So we've lost our freedom. You may have lost your job. You may have lost your sense of security. So, but as I said, that's a good thing in the sense that you now know what that feels like. Whereas before, if you'd listened to this 6 months ago, you might have said, oh yeah, what am I talking about? This will never happen. Well, it has happened. And this is just a taster. So let's treat this as a taster. Let's treat this as an opportunity to grab our self. I call it your stick self, with both hands. Get to know who we are. Get to become a bit stronger, so we can move forward. So how do you do this? How do you start to get stronger? So when lockdown is over, you can start to look at your life and start to order it in a fashion where you're less vulnerable. Right, well, the first thing I suggest is that you do the course, Core Motivational Training. It's free, it's very simple, and it will give you an idea of what to do. So I'm not going to go on and on about that because that's all you have to do. You just have to click on it and join it. That's it. All you'll get is 3 newsletters off me every month. That's it. And once you've done that, if you like it, you can carry on doing it, because I've got about 6 courses that you can do, which will show you how to start creating a meaningful, purposeful and fulfilled life from now. Okay? Before, your life could have been like that. You probably thought it was like that, but now you can see how vulnerable you are, sadly. So let's take this opportunity to start to create a life that will still keep being with you no matter what happens, potentially anyway. But you need courage to do it. So the ins and outs of the process of doing it, please enroll on the first course, the free introductory course. Please enroll on that. But you need courage to do it. And I'm just going to say a few words about courage now. When you are courageous, you just do something despite the outcome. Okay? You're not thinking about the outcome. What you're doing is what you know for you is the right thing. Now, this is very, very connected to universal law, actually. And if you do want to look into universal law, Mark Passio has some fantastic teachings on this. And again, I'm not going to talk about that as such because he knows 100 times more than me about that, and his work is very good. But basically, courage is doing the right thing for you in that moment without thinking about the outcome. We need to use our brain though, so we're not silly. But basically, you need to just know this is the right thing to do. Now, people struggle with what is the right thing because they're not following their feelings. They're not being absolute. They're not absolutely seeing what is good and what is bad. Now, I would like to suggest that having no freedom is always bad. So, if doing the right thing is to understand that the situation most of us are in the world at the moment is we have no freedom, then doing the right thing is to make a step towards creating some freedom yourself. And in this situation, it really means not being vulnerable, as such, not being so vulnerable. Because if you're not so vulnerable, you can still stay strong, and if you're strong, you've got more chance of keeping your freedom, I would suggest. So have a look around you and see if you can underline some aspects of your life which you feel are wrong. You know, they're wrong. They're not good, they're wrong. Once you've understood that this is wrong, you then need courage to actually say, right, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to make steps to do the right thing. So what you need to do is to understand who you are. Now, as I said, I go into this in the core motivational training, but basically it's elements of you. So it's what you feel, it's your level of safety, it's the level of love and care you're around, it's your health. Is your health good? If your health is not good, you need courage to face that fact, and you need to sort it out. You need to take steps to sort it out, irrespective of the outcome. Irrespective of the outcome, and to a degree, irrespective of whether you want to or not. We can't dither-dather around thinking, well, I don't know if I want to or not. We can't do that. We need to know, actually, my health is bad, so actually, I need to sort it out. You know? You need to do that. So that's one example. And then above your feelings, there's things like your talent, what you prefer to do, what your learning style is, what your mindset's like is really important as well. And lots of people have a very negative mindset, and that's not right either. That's not right. And they have a mindset that is very dominant, and your mind looks outside yourself for other people to tell you what to do. And that's wrong. That's wrong. You need to start working on what you know and what you have to do and what you create, rather than looking outside of yourself for answers. You need to realize that you are the solution. You are the solution. So, you know, fair enough, we live in a society, so we're very used to being provided for through, you know, other people, the government and all that. But actually we need to stand on our own 2 feet, and actually we need to know our own value. We need to cultivate our own value, and then we need to find people that we can work with as a self-employed person, or we can barter with, or we can support in a way that's mutually beneficial and that has love and care. That has love and care involved. And if we do this, we get things on a much more real, grounded human level, where things like trust and integrity and truth exist. You know, if we've got a weak mind and our mind is looking outside itself to solve everything, we will be reacting to everything. We won't know what's a lie. We won't know what's the truth. We just don't know, because we're looking outside and it's all relative. What we need to do is we need to start digging in deep and actually grabbing the truth by the neck and standing on it. And even if we don't know the facts, we need to dig deep, and we need to know, actually, at this moment, this is not good. You know, this is not good. So what can I do about it? What can I do about it? And that's courage. It takes courage to face your own self. It takes courage to face your own abilities, your own potential, and actually start to make decisions based from that, based from what you feel and what you are, and then take an action. Most people are in the flow of society, and when I say society, I mean this particular society, 2020, is not good. It's not good. So we're following a kind of a negative flow here, you know. So we need to have courage and stop following a negative flow and start to look at who we are and what we feel and what we know, and start to create a world around us where things like trust, integrity, love and care, and other people who are actually with you properly, who know you properly. And that's sort of beginnings of community, really, you know, and finding people who are similar to you, who will support you, and you can support them. It's a mutual support of love and care, you know. It's not about relying on someone to give you money who doesn't even know you, you know, doesn't even know you. I mean, this sort of thing doesn't get changed in a day, But what can be changed in one day is the way you think about it and what you start to do about it. So if you decide actually I've had enough, actually I'm going to get some courage, actually I'm going to have a bit of faith in the sense that I have to do the right thing, and let's see where that takes me, then that takes a second. That takes a second to realise. And then it does take, then you need to start to learn who you are. You need to start to learn how the people work. You need to start to understand what the mind does and what its relationship is to you. And there's all the courses that I have in the academy to help you to do this, you know. Very affordable as well, very, very affordable. And the first one is free. So so I do encourage you to do that, okay? So what I'm suggesting is, although it's a long process to actually get to your true potential and your true state of being in your strength, it takes a minute to decide to take that first step. But that takes courage and faith in the sense that you do have value, you do have a mission, you do have purpose, and you can have a fulfilled life. So I'd like to say to you all that you're a valuable people, you're human beings, you know, give yourself credit, give yourself enough time to actually consider that you do have power and you can make the world a better place. But what you need to do is to acknowledge yourself first in a kind and humble way, to make sure that you can then start to learn about yourself and start to understand about yourself and start to build yourself up so you have enough energy and power to move forward and start to create a better world for everybody. Okay, well, that's all I'll say for now. Thank you for listening. I'll be sending these out 3 times a month. Do email me if you have any topics you want me to talk about, and I will. And read the rest of the newsletter. There's a couple of new things coming along, and if you could, do support me by buying the Thank You for Your Support course, or by just jumping onto the free online course, Core Motivational Training, and see what you think of that. It may truly be what you're looking for, and it will help you if you want to take that first step into understanding who you are. I've just seen a caterpillar, and I'm going to see if I can film him for you. There you go. Well, camera's not focusing on it. Anyway, there's a caterpillar. See, we're caterpillars. Let's start getting to grips with ourselves, taking ourselves to pieces so we can create and turn into a butterfly. Alright? But first of all, we need to know the pieces, so get on to Core Motivational Training straight away. Thank you very much. Bye for now.